Welcome to GCCars, my name is Eric and this is the 2022 Hyundai Veloster N. Now I have driven a very similar vehicle to this Veloster N about 3 years ago in Germany, back when I lived in Europe, and that was the Hyundai i30N. That's the N version of the Elantra hatch that we used to get here. Same chassis, same platform, same engine, same drivetrain. A little shorter though, even though it has the same wheelbase. So I'm very curious to see how they compare, but the biggest difference is this one is with the 8-speed dual clutch transmission, while the i30N that I drove was the 6-speed manual, which is also available here. So let's see how this Veloster N with the DCT is and how much fun it is. And as always, if you like car reviews and think this video is good, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell because that supports me and gets more cool cars on this channel for you to watch for free. So let's get started with the exterior. And this thing is quirky, very, very quirky. First of all, the obvious thing, the Veloster, it's a 3-door, technically 4 doors. So we have 1 door on this side and 2 doors on the passenger side. The even funnier thing is, which so far I've never seen mentioned anywhere, that even the B-pillars are offset. This thing is not only functionally but also structurally asymmetrical. So if you can see, I'll try to show you a shot here, the B-pillar on the driver's side is further back than the one on the passenger side. Never seen that before. Very interesting. But in terms of how I like it, this is the Shooting Star matte paint. Matte is not very often available on cars these days, so that's pretty cool. Although I prefer the performance blue, just the Hyundai N blue. I like that a little more. I like the red accents, huge grille. Of course, the headlights, especially the daytime running lights here, the individual bulb lights, just kind of age it a little bit. Today, this would just be kind of like one continuous line. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. It looks a little cheeky with the red accent. Then we got our spoiler up here. The back, honestly, I like the back a lot. The exhaust pipes are just huge. They're just like literally huge. They're bigger than my fist, way bigger than my fist. And then we have the spoiler up top, and of course the N logo. No, I think it looks pretty good, honestly. It's a fun little hatch. The exterior matches the character, but let's see how the interior is, because this Veloster used to be very, very cheap back when you can actually get base models of this. So let's see how that fares up. And also, of course, the door is pretty big on the driver's side, a lot bigger than on the passenger side. Anyhow, we want to take a look inside, right? It's a little low, of course, compared to the SUVs and trucks we usually have. But let's talk about the interior. There is no denying that you do notice that this Veloster N started off as an economy little hatchback. A lot of the materials in here are just not that nice. Like, there's a lot of scratchy plastics. The headliner, I know I touched the headliner, how dare I, is really, really cheap. And it's just a lot of plastic throughout. But Hyundai did make sure that all the stuff you touch is pretty nice. So first of all, the plastic up here is textured, and exactly where you rest your arm, it is padded. So it's actually not uncomfortable. Then we have the steering wheel, which is really nice. I like that a lot. We have kind of perforated leather and then regular leather up top and below. We have our buttons, our N buttons, N Grin shift, the race mode for the N modes, and then drive modes. We have paddle shifters, which are very nice. They are plastic. They look like metal though. And then we have the shifter for our DCT is also perforated leather. Then the seats. Oh, these seats are, I love these seats. These are great. Perfect for my body type at 5'7" and 125 pounds. They hold me in place like no other seat I've been in so far. It is incredible how much hold I have in these, and they're pretty comfortable too. They're cloth in the middle, the leather on the outside, and the cool thing about them is this little N logo you see that actually lights up at night. Other than that, functionally, not too much to say. Of course, it's a hatchback, so we don't have too much space, but you have a lot of little cubbies here and there. You have space for a phone. You don't have a wireless charger. Seats are heated, and we have a heated steering wheel. Gauge cluster is is analog with a digital screen in the middle. And then our infotainment is, the screen isn't big, but big enough. And swiping through is fast, but selecting menus can sometimes take a little bit of time. Other than that, yeah, so it is cheap, yes, but the important parts are decent, I would say, especially the seats. Seats are awesome. So let's take a look at the second row. All right, how about we do that? pardon me, I gotta squeeze by because we don't have a door, right? Remember? But let me sit down on this side. And it is surprisingly comfy in here. Sitting behind myself, 5'7", of course I have space. That's pretty logical. Foot space could be a little narrow if you got a tall driver in front, because even right now the bucket seats, I can just about slide my feet underneath, but if the driver in front is taller, seat will be lower, and then it could be a little cramped, and then you're getting a bit cramped here. So of course this isn't like the family car for 4 adults at all time, but you can definitely ferry around adults in here, no problem, if you just do it occasionally, right? Not every single day. And we also, just up in front, which I failed to mention, we have a beautiful performance blue seat belts, which are pretty cool, matching to my shirt today actually. And yeah, visibility is actually pretty decent. The seats are comfy, also decent bit of support for lateral grip situations. Cup holders in the middle, little cubby. No connectivity though, so this is very bare bones here in the back. But I'm comfy, surprisingly comfy actually. It's just that you have to go out through that door or push this forward, but it's easy to go through the door. Anyhow, trunk, and then we're gonna drive. Hello there. So the trunk is actually decently big. We got 19.9 cubic feet of space like that, but that's a little issue because, as you can see by me climbing out of this Veloster elegantly as ever, it's a little high. That's a pretty high loading floor. So if you have something heavy, you need to carry it over here, and then it goes like almost a foot, maybe 2/3 of a foot down back here. And of course, if you need more space, 44.5 cubic feet if you put down the second row seats. So let's put her down, manual. Let's go driving. Okay, now on the road here in the Veloster N, put her in N mode, and we're gonna do a little bit of launch control action, because this has launch control. It's set to 3500 right now. So we're gonna mash the brake and the throttle. Woo, okay. Oh, that was a hard shift. Okay, brake her down again. Yeah, she's pretty quick. She's pretty quick. So I think according to, let's go to N custom here. All right, chill. According to Car and Driver, I think it's like 5.8 seconds to 60 miles an hour. That is pretty quick. Pretty quick, even for a hot hatch, especially for a hot hatch, because what we got in here in terms of powertrain is a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4 producing 275 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque, and like I said, we got the dual clutch transmission in here, so we are mated to an 8-speed automatic dual clutch, and we can shift ourselves, like I said, and have a little bit of fun. So we're in 5th gear right now. Whoo! And it's the same thing I said about the i30N back in Germany. I don't know what kind of witchcraft Hyundai has done to this 4-cylinder, but it sounds so mean. It sounds so mean, it sounds so good, it burbles even at idle, like it actually burbles, like a V8 almost. It is insane. I don't know what they did. I don't like how 4-cylinders sound, except for this one. It sounds so good. I love it. It's just plenty of fun. And as you heard on upshifts, this one farts. The i30N, because it was a manual, and I guess the Veloster does the same thing. I can't quite tell because I haven't driven it in a manual. But like I said, same drivetrain, same car, pretty much for the most part. That one had like a bang. Like you engage the clutch, you let out the revs, let out the gas at like high RPM, and there's so loud bang. This one farts. Let's see, drive mode normal, 50 kilometers an hour. Let's see how quick it reacts though. And we're gonna floor it. Pretty good. That was a normal drive mode. Of course, we do have a bit of issue. We have a bit of a grip issue here right now with the, with the winter tires and a bit of a slick road. So we gotta be a little careful. We can't really do much handling today, but we'll talk about that in a second. And lastly, I know there's a lot of acceleration and stuff like that. We do have pretty cool button here if you have the dual clutch transmission. That is N Grin shift. If I press that, even in normal right now, lowest gear, N mode, and we can go. And we can deactivate it all the time. And we're back to normal. It's so cool. Like, if you need to overtake anywhere, need to have some action, you click that, you press that button, and you have all the power, all the torque you need. But let's talk about suspension, put it into N mode, because I like to be tortured, apparently. I do want to shift myself though, because M mode helps revs. This is an atrocious road, and yeah, okay. This is the hardest suspension mode because we have an adaptive suspension, and we get rattled pretty good. Then we got train tracks up ahead, which should probably make this even worse. Let's see. And it's all right. And if we go into regular driving mode for like the most compliant suspension, we still feel quite a few bumps. It's not necessarily isolated per se, but it does pretty well. The suspension is, you're very connected to the road, let's say like that, but in regular driving modes, it's not too punishing, but if you go into N, it's just, like, I'm 22 guys, and even I go, ow, and moan a lot when I'm in N mode in this car and drive in city streets, and then it's like a pothole, and it's like, it beats you up good. This is the stiffest suspension I've had in any car we've had, period. I've been in Porsches, and they weren't as stiff. Admittedly, it wasn't like a GT3 or something, but still, this is ridiculously stiff. So if you need stiffness, yeah, you got it. And we have so many drive modes. Let's go back into N custom, so I can customize my drive mode myself, from like engine response, transmission, behavior, steering, suspension, ESC. I can customize to my liking. And my N mode is steering in Sport, not in Sport Plus, because quite frankly in Sport Plus the steering is just way too heavy. I don't like it at all. I have the transmission in regular because I want to have it as sporty as possible, but I don't want to be like 2 gears lower than I need to be, because that's just my fuel economy gone in that case, and fuel is pretty expensive at the moment. So I'd rather not. And then I have ESC in Sport all the time, and just it's just kind of like a mix out of regular and N mode. And remember I told you that this just keeps me in my seat? It does it so well. And we can You hear that? Remember when I said stiff suspension? It's pretty stiff. This isn't the stiffest mode. This is regular. That was regular. That wasn't even N. But it's ridiculous fun. I love this thing. It's just such a mean little machine. And I was just like, I had a lot of fun in the i30M back when I had it. That was the fastest car I ever drove by that time. Like I said, that was 3 years ago. So I've been in way faster cars than this one, but this is still, it's just enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. It's just a little nasty thing in a good way. Nasty in a good way. It sounds mean. It really wants you to drive. The suspension, the steering, the chassis are all pretty decent. And just, you know, they push you. This is one of those cars you just put on Need for Speed music, and then you just kind of have fun. Of course, you stay within the limits of the law. Legal disclaimer. I pushed this. Of course, like, it's hard to push these when you're not on a track, especially with winter conditions we have right now. But at the start, when I picked it up, we've had a day where it was warm and it was dry, so I was able to push it a little bit. Like, this car is just too capable for the tires. I pushed it on like the usual on-ramp where I push it, because you don't break the speed limit while still safely pushing the car. And this thing just went from, in like 2 seconds, it went from understeer to oversteer to understeer to oversteer, which is pretty fun. And yeah, somehow they made this oversteer, so it's not like in like a rear-wheel drive car where it just literally comes around. But if you let off mid-corner or stuff like that, you will feel that the back rotates a little bit, and that helps you turn. The dynamics are very, very good in this Veloster, and Hyundai knows how to set up a car in a very sporty manner. This is honestly one of the most fun hot hatches out there, and one of the most serious hot hatches out there, like especially with the suspension. But let's talk a little bit at the end here about regular driving, because we do have the regular mode, although I'm only in that mode when I'm driving through a neighborhood at night, because I don't want to annoy everybody with the exhaust, as good as it sounds. But in regular mode, you do have decently compliant ride. The NVH isn't too bad. It's not super quiet in here. It is an economy car after all, the base of the Veloster N here, but it's still a decent daily driver. You don't compromise too much, even though you still have quite a bit of capability with this Veloster here, and I like it to drive. One big complaint: visibility. Visibility is pretty bad in here, even though it's a small car, but you have big blind spots, and additionally, our mirrors are literally this big as the palm of my hand. Well, my full hand, not just palm of my hand. As big as my hand, I could fully block the mirror, so you have a very big blind spot, and it's deceptively big. You think I had a couple times I had it happen on the highway that I think I know where cars are, and suddenly there's a car popping out of nowhere for me. Even though I'm checking the mirrors all the time, I look over my shoulder, but still, it is bigger than you think it is. Just a little heads up, be careful with that. But other than that, tech is pretty decent. The sound system is okay, but it does get overwhelmed with more complex songs, and with more, it's like if there's multiple instruments playing at once, and it's maybe a little louder, and vocals additionally, it just can kind of like muffle everything a little together. But for the most part, it's still decently enjoyable. And we have all the good Hyundai tech, like the lane keep assist and lane centering assist, which I love so much. It is not quite as advanced in here as it is in newer Hyundai Kias, like the Carnival we've had not too long ago. But it's still a very good system. It will still help you drive. It'll still take off quite a bit of load on your daily commute. So yeah, this is a good package. This is a good package. But with that said, let's put it in a manual, put it into N mode. Torque steer. Got me a little off guard there, fair enough. But I'm just bumping around. It's just stupid fun. It's a nice little mean machine. I like it. Send it off to the final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on the 2022 Hyundai Veloster N. And just like the i30N I drove 3 years ago in Europe, I was not disappointed. Quite the opposite, actually. It is such a fun little hot hatch with a lot of performance packed into it, and it's just, you saw it in the video. I had so much fun. I giggled a lot, and I wanted to push it always, all the time. Like, this car wants you to push it. It's a little tempting. You got to be a little careful when driving this, but if you can push it, it's just so much fun. I love it. If you want to have a fun hot hatch that's more on the serious side in terms of performance, and more on the fun side in terms of, it's just a fun car for you to have fun in, the Veloster N is amazing. I haven't driven the GTI or the R yet. We're hopefully going to drive a few more hot hatches this year, but I'm sure we will. And in the end, at a price of $42,350.35, yes, it isn't cheap. And yes, the interior isn't quite as nice as you'd expect maybe for that price. But I always say I don't want to dock a car or like be negative about a car if the interior isn't as nice, but there's just so much performance packed into it. Nice interior, you'll probably pay a couple grand more. And as is, I like it. I like it a lot. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the video. I had a lot of fun making it. As you can see, the car's pretty dirty now. Whoopsie. But if you liked it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because we upload videos pretty much every week, and we review everything from hot hatches to like 600 horsepower AMGs, trucks, luxury cars, budget cars. We got it all. And make sure to leave some feedback if you think I could improve on something, because I want to grow this channel not only in terms of viewership, but also, of course, in terms of quality. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it, and hope I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, and goodbye.